Hey friends, I hope the morning's treating you well. I just heard about Mike Peters from The Alarm passing away, and I wanted to say a few words off the top of my head. I really dug The Alarm a lot when I was a kid. They kind of scratched a certain itch for me. I think the first time I ever heard them was I saw the video for The Stand on MTV, and I was really into Jason and the Scorchers at that time. And I remember they were dressed like Jason and the Scorchers, but they were from Wales. And they didn't sound like Jason and the Scorchers, but they seemed like there were similar sensibilities to me, a kid landlocked in Indiana. And the video, they had these hand painted lyrics or something behind them, and it looked like a Howard Finster set. Just, it hit me in a lot of different ways that resonated with me. And I ended up buying that record. I seemed to believe it was a EP. I bought the cassette. Remember cassettes? I went down to my local record store and talked to the person behind the counter. They were a fan of The Alarm, and they're telling me about, yeah, man, IRS records. They're cool and blah blah blah. Am I right about that being an EP? Because I Googled it and Wikipedia didn't list the EP, so I was all confused by that. But I really dug it, and I ended up buying, was it Declaration, the next album, and they're so good at these sing-along anthems. It's not easy to write an anthem, something that that makes you feel like you want to sing it out loud. But when you're playing to 500 people or 5,000 people or whatever, people will raise their hands and yeah, yo, will want to do that sort of thing. And they were so good at doing that. They had these sing-along choruses, and the songs really felt like they meant something. And I felt like, I think that, and maybe this is common knowledge, it felt like they were probably religious people. Maybe these songs were supposed to be religious songs, but they towed the line enough to where I didn't get it in the same way that you two sort of did that. I have no idea. I'm not a religious person, so I didn't care. I just liked the music. And I remember the guitars. They would have acoustic guitars like dreadnoughts, and it looked like someone just cut a hole in it and put a modern humbucker right in there without a pickup cover. It didn't look like, I was aware at the time. I'm a kid and there's no internet. And it's really hard to get any kind of information about the bands that you love. You just have to hope that some magazine writes about them or whatever. And I just remember seeing those guitars and like, what the hell's going on there? And I knew about the John Lennon, guitar with the pickup up by the neck and some knobs. And I don't think I knew that Martin made a guitar with whatever pickup in there that Kurt Cobain would later play on MTV's Unplugged. I didn't know about that stuff. It's just kind of like, you can put a humbucker and an acoustic, and that it sounds like that, and that just seemed really cool to me and appealed to me. And Mike Peters had this, like in 68 Guns, he had this ragged voice. Like, thank God it wasn't auto-tuned, because it just sounded so real. And in the video, there's these weird cultural things that happen when you're a kid. I think you pick up on it subconsciously. You get later on in life, you get cynical and think that people are maneuvering themselves. But here are these guys that look imperfect. They dress like Jason and Scorchers. A few people were dressing that way. And the video starts with a poor kid who can't afford to get into their show. And I don't know, man, that just kind of looked like a rough street kid. And all of that just related to me. I could relate to all of that. And then there's these beautiful melodic changes where, like, the guitar, it sounds like a Gretsch or something, but down, 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 they're after you with their promises. It's just beautiful melodic changes like that. And then the gang vocal of all these people shouting promises of love. That's hard stuff to come up with, man. And they just kind of did that over and over, and just great songwriting. And and you watch the videos now, and it's the '80s, and you kind of have to forgive a lot of things from the '80s. It was a rough decade, but at a time when I was digging, you're looking for things like REM and Jason and the Scorchers, just all these. There's a lot of great stuff going on, but there's a lot of terrible stuff that I couldn't relate to. It was like, wow, there's some guys from Wales who are singing about stuff, and they seem like they really mean it, and I could relate to it. And the Howlin' Wind, man, I was trying to think of all the different songs. I listened to a couple earlier today, and there's a beautiful thing about there's the stuff that you dig at a young age, where there's a lot of it that was just terrible looking back on it, but I was young, and I remember I guess they toured with U2 on the War tour, opening up. What's funny, I loved that album, War, when it came out. I mean, I absolutely loved it. And there's years went by where I didn't listen to it, and I heard it at a coffee shop like 25 years later, and every bit of it rang true to me in the exact same way. And it was such a beautiful feeling to like, wow, there's things that spoke to me deeply when I was a kid that I'm not ashamed of later, that I really still feel. It really rang true. It's like, wow, I did like some things that were cool. And when I listened back to The Alarm this morning and listened to some of Declaration, I felt the same way. It's just beautiful music. Powerful, strong music. I wish that I could have seen them live. I don't know. I imagine they came to Chicago, maybe Cincinnati, maybe. I don't remember them ever coming to Indiana, but I would have loved to have seen them. And then there's that moment when, this is the hard part, those of you who are musicians know this, where there's something that you really dig and you really like, and then the next album, I didn't quite feel it in the same way. At the time, I might love it now, but and my attention went elsewhere to other bands, and my taste became different. And at the time, I had a VHS tape of, I'll get back to that thought I just ran away from in a second, but I had a VHS tape of them somewhere in LA, maybe a UCLA, and I think it originally aired on MTV, but I didn't see that. But Martha Quinn introduces them, and if my memory's correct, she was wearing a Buddy Holly shirt. What a magical, beautiful time. But they were great, and they come out and they're playing those guitars with the look like they cut holes and put pickups in it and all that, the acoustic guitars, really powerful stuff. And I watched that. I had a third or fourth generation copy. It was all grainy and fuzzy, that I traded a friend. I probably gave them some copy, like fourth generation copy of Let There Be Rock, and traded, for this. I think it was called The Spirit of 76, but I don't know. But it was an MTV thing. It's probably here on YouTube right now, and I'm going to go look it up when I'm done here. But like I was saying just a second ago, they released an album that I didn't quite feel, and moved on and listened to 100 other things, and just kind of stopped listening and stopped thinking about them. And I remember the Rain in the Summertime. It's cool they had kind of a hit with that or whatever. I wasn't that into that. And then I remember hearing that Mike Peters got cancer. It was blood cancer. And was he in his 30s, I think, when he got that? But he ended up fighting that, which says a lot, man. It's a tough dude. Fought that hard for 30 years until passing away, I think yesterday or the day before. But that's a tough dude, man. 30 years of fighting that. And when people say lost his battle with cancer or whatever, I don't know, man. Fighting that shit for 30 years, he got quite a few extra years out of his life. And anyhow, I just wanted to say a few words about him. Are you guys friends or fans? Are you guys fans of The Alarm, Mike Peters? I bet you there's a lot of you who have seen them live quite a few times, had the records. But I think that a lot of you who watch this channel would appreciate some of those songs, and they're worth looking up. But just wanted to say a few words out of respect, and I appreciate y'all being here. I'll see you somewhere down the road. Rest easy, Mike, and much love to you.